Or maybe it's his hair.
It's the hair.
Yeah, I don't
I
like
can fix that real quick.
And if he works like his skin instead.
It's not supposed to.
So what would you be your guess what this is in the male? Urinary bladder. And then this would be
Like his head balances his body. It's so good.
The ureter?
ureters. Yeah, those are the ureters.
Yeah, I'll settle for him. I'll settle.
What bone is this? Yeah, pubic symphysis. Okay, so obviously testes, right?
Whoa.
Okay, you can see the epididymis on one and not the other. So in this case, a lot of the more structures have been removed, so you can just see the testes. Actually, what you're really seeing are muscles that are covering the testes. There's actually two muscles here. This is known as the cremaster muscle, which is an extension of the internal oblique muscle. Anyway, the cremaster muscle, and then surrounding the testes itself is another muscle called the dartos muscle. And those dartos. Now, the whole point, so the testes, the whole point of the testes being external to the pelvic cavity is to drop the temperature of the testes a few degrees below body temperature, because that's the temperature that is ideal for the development of sperm. However, the testes, the height of the testes with respect to the pelvic cavity can be adjusted, and it's adjusted by those muscles, by the cremaster muscle and the dartos muscle. So when it's hot, they relax, but during colder temperature, the cremaster muscle contracts, the dartos muscle also contracts. So the cremaster muscle, when it contracts, it's going to elevate the testes and the scrotum. And the dartos causes contraction and wrinkling. So that's what you have going on there. Anyway, that's lecture, but I'm figuring as long as you're looking at it, you may as well be aware of it. Okay, then on the kind of superior surface of the testes, you can see the epididymis. And the epididymis actually is more like a comma-shaped structure. So you're only seeing like the more expanded portion of the comma here, and then the tail extends down here. Anyway, the epididymis is actually, all that it consists of is a coil. It's a very long coil. It's just a tube-like structure. So the sperm are actually synthesized or produced in the testes, and then they're transferred to the epididymis where they mature. And then, of course, the tube that extends out of the epididymis, right, extends along this structure. What would this structure here be if you just name the whole structure? That's the spermatic cord. So there's a tube that extends from the end of the epididymis right through the spermatic cord. Huh.
It disappeared.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Right, into the pelvic cavity, right? So this is the inguinal canal here. Into the pelvic cavity, right? That's the vas deferens, or the ductus deferens.
Where?
So you can call it the vas or the ductus deferens, right? So that's the vas deferens. So you can't see it in here, but the vas deferens, of course, is one of the structures that makes up the spermatic cord. So the spermatic cord is all of this. So on the exterior, you have the cremaster muscle, but then interior, you have layers of fascia, but then in the interior, you have, of course, the spermatic artery and the spermatic vein, and the testicular nerve and lymph vessels. So all of that are contained and wrapped within the spermatic cord. Now, this part here is showing something interesting. Here, there's some of the blood vessels. In other words, the blood, you can see blood vessels here. So actually, more has been exposed on this side than on this side. I got that backwards. Here, the cremaster muscle has been removed together with fascia, so you can see blood vessels. I don't like this as much as I've seen it in some others, but this is all that we have. What this is representing, actually, is a network of venous blood vessels surrounding a network of arterial blood vessels. So okay, so here you have the spermatic, what's also known as the testicular artery. It makes its way also through the inguinal canal here to the spermatic cord. So let me ask you this. What do you think is the temperature of the arterial blood versus the venous blood? It's a few degrees hotter, right? Warmer. Right? Remember the testicular blood, right? So the arterial blood travels through the testes, right? Supplies the tissue in the testes with the nutrients and the oxygen that they need, and then it starts traveling, up again through the testicular vein. Of course, it's been in the testes long enough to have cooled down, so it's cooler than the arterial blood. So that's why here, instead of just having two straight blood vessels of a spermatic vein and spermatic artery, you actually have a network of spermatic veins encircling the spermatic artery. And of course, there's heat exchange taking place there. So essentially, what's happening? I mean, something's getting cooled, the other thing is getting warmed, right? So anyway, the important thing is that the blood in the spermatic artery is getting cooled down so that it won't end up warming up the testes, which is defeating the whole purpose of the testes being outside of the pelvic cavity to begin with. So that's I find that's why I explain this guy. I think it's kind of this functions kind of as a radiator, and I think it's kind of interesting. Anyway, this network of veins here was called the pampiniform plexus. Anyway, that's an extra credit question. Yeah, pampiniform plexus. It's my favorite anatomical term. And then after that, it's the canal of Schlemm. Don't you like canal of Schlemm? I mean, come on. I mean, zygomatic is up there, but okay. So so just remember the components of the spermatic cord, right? Includes arterial vein, arterial artery, or instead of vein, you can say the pampiniform plexus, the vas deferens, lymphatic vessels, and nerve. Okay, so all of those are wrapped in a number of layers of fascia, and then the cremaster muscle, the dartos muscle. Okay.
Is the ejaculatory duct in there too?
Okay, so the vas deferens, we'll get to that in lecture, but the vas deferens actually, no, I'm sorry, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can see it. Okay, so you pull it apart. Do not do this with your own body.
Well, might be interesting.
These cameras are good.
Okay, the ejaculatory duct is right here. Actually, no, it's not. It's a little bit anterior. It's anterior to this. Yeah, we'll have to look at a better picture. But let's see. The vas deferens merges with a duct from the seminal vesicle. Okay, so here's a seminal vesicle, right? There's two seminal vesicles, one prostate. Where it merges with the seminal vesicle, it forms the ejaculatory duct. And then right after that, it empties into, that's what we're seeing here, is where that ejaculatory duct empties into the urethra. Okay? So once again, urinary bladder, this is the prostate. Prostate produces a number of substances that both nourish and also mostly nourish, balance the pH of the semen, and so on. And the seminal vesicles also. So seminal vesicles, the prostate, together with the Cowper's glands, produce seminal fluid. And also, of course, that includes the sperm from the vas deferens. So all of those contribute to what we call seminal fluid. At any rate, so the parts of the urethra, right? This is the prostatic urethra. And then there's a thin here, right here, this region here, That's the membranous urethra. So it's just a small little segment here, after which you just have what's called the penile urethra. It's also called the spongy urethra because the tissue that it's traveling through is very spongy material. In fact, it's called the corpora spongiosa. This is.
Too many terms. Spongy urethra is fine.
So don't forget the corpora spongiosa.
9.
10. So the glans penis, this guy has been, what is it? Circumcised. So only a teeny weeny little bit of the prepuce is left. So in other words, the prepuce is what covers the glans penis. All right. What else? I think. Okay. So once again, right? Seminal vesicles. Let's put them together. Some people have taken to doing bizarre things with penises, by the way.
I'm going to put you off camera for that.
You haven't heard?
What?
I don't think I'll even say.
They pierce.
No, they do worse than that. Okay. I think split it in half.
And
How then is it useful as
Ask
a
me.
reproductive organ?
I don't know. I mean, people have different priorities. I don't know. I don't. It beat it back. I don't know. I'm just saying. People do some weird ass stuff. All right.
Well, I guess it's
Where was
sew
I?
it back on and make it work. It's fine.
No, it's longitudinal cut.
Oh,
I don't get it.
okay. That might not work out.
Yeah, it's just bizarre stuff. Where was I? Oh, okay. I'm getting distracted.
What do you do in your free time? You're recording. I'm recording.
I look up bizarre human behavior.
that's special.
All right. So notice just notice the location of the seminal vesicles. All right. That's the prostate again. That's the urinary bladder. So seminal vesicle. So again, these produce substances. There's only one shown here that are secreted into the urethra, prostate gland, and I didn't show you the Cowper's gland. The Cowper's glands. They're located generally embedded in this area here, but I'm not seeing it.
It's that thing that's sticking out.
It does look like it could be the thing that's sticking out.
Because you used to.
Yeah. Maybe that's supposed to be the Cowper's glands there. And they're also known as bulbourethral glands. This, well, I think you're right. That's a good point.
Thing in
That-
place,
But it's a bulbourethral gland. All right. Okay, I think that's it for this,
Oh,
right?
It's the.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm a liar. Not liar.